built from the ground up to take advantage of the Xbox Series consoles. This is the most technically advanced racing game ever made.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Built from the ground up.
Built from the ground up.
Or built from the ground up.
Rebuilt from the ground up.
Built from the ground up.
Forza Motorsport is one of the biggest disasters in racing game history. From false advertising, to straight out lies, to being an absolute broken mess. And after everyone finally realizing that the game is trash and showing it, people have finally realized that AAA games right now are in a state of absolute garbage. But I'm here specifically to talk about Forza Motorsport because I'm a racing guy, and the amount of lies we were fed in the pre-launch of this game was absolutely insane. I'm going to first tackle the car models, as there have been development of people finding code from Forza Motorsport, the original on the Xbox, for cars. So basically, Forza Motorsport 1 to 4, there have been code of the cars in that game being used for this exact same cars that have been ported over to this game. That in itself is not a big issue in my opinion, except for the fact that they said at least 30 times per video/stream before launch that the game was built from the ground up. You know, I don't think you guys remember that. Let me play the clip real quick.
Built from the ground up.
Built from the ground up.
Or built from the ground up.
Rebuilt from the ground up.
Built from the ground up for this generation.
If the cars are just ports from older games, why lie so much? Built from the ground up was basically the tagline, and now it's being used to bash the game over the head. My final segment for this built from the ground up cars section is, I'm pretty sure Gran Turismo uses PS3 copies because Kazunori stated in an interview that their models from the PS3 were so good, they're future-proof for a next game probably on a next-gen console. But the thing is, if that's the case, no one has figured that out or seen any case of that because Polyphony cares enough to polish those old models to make them look like they were brand new. Forza Motorsport doesn't do that. They don't hide it. They don't hide it, and yet they still lie about them being all built from the ground up, even though it's obviously not true. They're literally shooting themselves in the foot. Anyway, next topic for me is the graphics. It looks either like the best game of all time, like graphic-wise, or it looks like a fucking Xbox 360 title. The game just looks flat and the lighting is off. No one really knows why or what's really wrong, but it's just bad. The physics were good enough, and like the cars all felt a little too stiff. Like they added too much weight to make it feel realistic, but besides that, it was actually pretty good. The audio design is pretty shit. A lot of the cars don't sound like their actual real-life counterparts. So Forza's main thing against Gran Turismo is kind of flipped because GT7 sounds are amazing. I'm going to talk campaign now before the biggest topic of the game, I think. The campaign is, it pretty fucking sucks. There's drift tires and drift cars showing off. There's no drifting events. There's no drag events. And, there's a lot of race cars, you know? There are a single event in the entire career that lets you use race cars. And the whole get a car, and then you gotta use the car to level up and then earn parts to tune it with, is the most retarded thing I have seen. I don't think they thought it through. The whole point was, I think, to build a connection with the cars and not buy tons of them to build a connection with the one car you spent money on. But, like, they hide, like, wings and shit behind, like, level 2, which is, like, a little bit of driving, not a lot or, like, not a little, but it's, like, it's an annoying amount, and if you just want a wing, you gotta drive for, like, 20 minutes to unlock a wing. What is the purpose? And my biggest gripe is, like, what if I want multiple of the same car with different setups, like a drift setup? Even though there are no drift events. Like, I gotta grind one car, and if I want to get the same car and make a different setup for it, I gotta grind again. It's literally just, like, extending playtime. It's mechanical extension. This career mode is hot garbage. So was Gran Turismo 7's, but, like, it's still better, slightly, so I'd rather play that than this. is the main reason why I'm making this video. This game is, or it was at launch, and still kind of is, virtually unplayable. Bugs leading to infinite game crashes, the game not opening. The replay mode, I think, is the most famous bug of it, sending cars through the map and sending them into orbit. Car interiors not loading, car exteriors not loading, the map deloading while racing on it. If you were playing on console, you were getting decent frame rate, I guess. But if you were on PC, the amount of clips I saw of people running like 20 FPS, even though they got the newest hardware, is actually ridiculous. This game took 5 or 6 years to develop, and they constantly advertised it as being the most advanced racing game of all time. And the fact that this thing launched as an equivalent to Cyberpunk is absolutely embarrassing. I couldn't find a link to the notes, nor could I just find the notes in general, but you should have seen the noticed issues page when the game first launched. You could literally scroll for hours, it felt like. That page of known issues that Forza themselves put up was literally endless. And that's my biggest takeaway from this game. It is just a broken mess that cannot be redeemed. I don't care how good it is 3 years from now when it's fixed. The game launched specifically on PC as an unplayable mess, and console was a playable mess. So you had to pick your poison. That's where I'm going to end this video off, but I would like to make one last question standpoint. I know they're not the same devs, but how could a game from the same franchise, Forza Horizon 5, it launched decently. There were no bugs, nothing like this. It launched in a playable state and it was a decent game. I know they're not the same devs, but how could such lack of quality control go into the Forza Motorsport series time and time again, while pretty much every single Forza Horizon has at least launched in a competent state? Motorsports 5, 6, and 7 were all the worst of the series, and now Reboot, aka Forza 8, has been another stab there. I don't get what's wrong. Ever since the Xbox One, the Forza has been in a fucking hole. I genuinely think it's because Turn 10 is no longer a team of developers that care. From Forza 1 to 4, it was made up of a people that were supposed to make a clone of Gran Turismo for Xbox, but they were built up of a team that actually cared about cars. And now it just seems like they've become 343 Industries for Xbox, but for Forza, where they don't care about the game. They're literally just there so they can make money, make a game that sells. And I haven't talked about this at all or brought it up at all, but I think the biggest robbery is the fact that this won Racing Game of the Year. I think Hot Wheels, or specifically the Crew Motorfest, should have definitely won Racing Game of the Year. But the fact that a near unplayable game won Racing Game of the Year is the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my life. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.
I feel so precious away.